Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the latest episode of What We Do in the Shadows, Witches. And this was a pretty damn good one. I didn't know what they were going to be doing with the witches, since this is the first time that they've been heavily, featured in an episode, barring the witch's hat asshole kind of thing going on. But this was pretty well done, and I didn't even really expect what was going to be going on. So, a good thing that we really got in here was that they really kind of delved into not deep lore, but we got kind of an explanation of what kind of powers the witch's magic, and kind of they have a similar kind of power structure of kind of familiars, same kind of thing with vampires. So I was like, that's pretty cool to see. So the episode starts off, and of course Nandor is trying to call a house meeting, and it's been like 15 minutes. Nadja kind of pops up, and she's like, "Yeah, Laszlo's outside doing his fruit thing." And then he's like, "Well, could you go get him?" And he's like, "Have Guillermo do it." And he's like, "Guillermo's on a break." And we learn that Nandor, while giving him off 1 day off a week, he is also giving him 15-minute breaks every 4 hours and claiming it as his idea. And I'm like, Guillermo, doing it, man. We just see him sitting there taking his little break and everything. And then, of course, we switch out and we see that Laszlo is tending an apple tree, and that apples used to be one of his favorite things, but now it smells like shit in the case, so he just goes out, cuts the apples off, and falls to the ground. Then he hears somebody calling his name. He's like, what the fuck's going on there? Like, what do you want? All that. Of course, a goat pops up. He's like, what the fuck's up with you, goat? What's going on? Of course, Nandor's calling out to him. He's like, yeah, hold on a minute. I gotta deal with this goat fucking thing. But, of course, he then gets swirled up into this smoke and then gets shot off into the sky, and they did really good job on those effects. They know how to do the effects to make it look good enough for what's going on without going completely overboard. And then, of course, they come out saying, they're like, what the fuck's going on here? Of course, Colin Robinson's there, Nadja, Nandor, Guillermo, and they're like, Guillermo's not really doing much because he's kind of still on his break thing. Nadja's getting pissed off at that. And Nandor's like, we really see nothing. And then he sees the goat, and he's like, hey, it's a goat, and everything. And he goes over to, mess with the goat, but then he gets shot up in the sky as well. And it's like, shit. So they're like, oh, fuck, I'll go get the keys. So Guillermo's like, all right, let's do this. They're driving. Nadja was pissed off. He's like, this thing's going slower than my yayo when she rode a snail to the next village over. It's like, yeah, hold on. As we see the witches kind of hauling ass in the sky, and we see one of them smack into something. It's like, Nadja's like, whatever, that was just Nandor. And they eventually get to this place that looks like a kind of front for, the witches' stuff. And, of course, Colin Robinson says that, I'll go in for a snoop and poop kind of thing. And Nadja's like, no, we need somebody who's a human, a schlub and everything, saying all this shit. And Cameron's like, fine, I'm going to do it. So he goes over, and while he's going over, he's telling the camera guys to kind of stay back, stay safe. And I'm like, yay, that's cool. I like that Guillermo's kind of doing that a little bit more and showing a little bit more initiative, being like, hey guys, this could get kind of fucking hairy. Watch your asses. Of course, he gets inside, and the front lady's pretty much like, hey, why don't you, smell this kind of stuff? He, of course, is trying to see if there's another room or whatnot, but she starts, rubbing his temples and shit like that, and he's like, okay, I'm okay. And then we see Colin and Nadja are, looking at us and like, what the fuck's going on? Of course, the goat pops up and like, bitch! And then they get yeeted on up into the sky as well, as the woman asks the camera people to come in and Guillermo to follow her. We, of course, see the witch's brooms there. It's like, shit. All right, let's see how this goes. She takes him to a room and pretty much puts him in there. Like, yeah, you guys could just wait in here. Of course, we see Nadja and Colin pop into the place, and they get locked in there. We also see what's going on with the witches thing. They're like, hey, yeah, let's get the ceremony kind of shit started. And we learn that the group's leader is Lilith, and she's like, yeah, we'll let you guys watch this shit and everything. Of course, some hijinks kind of happen. She kind of knocks into somebody else. And, of course, Nandor and Laszlo are kind of freaked out. They're like, what do you want, man? Just, of course, Laszlo's trick is like, hey, you really don't need both of us, do you? Do you? It's like, oh, fuck you. Nandor's like, listen, if you release us, you'll receive mercy, but not if you don't, we will utterly destroy you. They, of course, are laughing at that, and I'm like, it just worked into Nandor's character. I'm like, yeah. I mean, granted, people are laughing at you for that shit, but I applauded the effort there. And they start doing their stuff, and I was like, okay, watch out, what's this is doing? And I was like, oh shit, I'm hard. And I was like, yeah, I'm hard too. And we find out that they are doing a semen extraction process. And it's funny because they're starting off the ritual, and there's different ass music's playing. Then they go for tribal, and then they switch to their actual age forms. And this actually doesn't turn off Nandor and Laszlo. They're like, ooh, milfs, and it's like, was not expecting that. And while this is going on, we see our three other people trying to get out of this. It's actually kind of similar to a thing that I had seen in the anime Demon Slayer, where it's this room of just doors and shit. And now, granted, Demon Slayer it's more like houses and shit in that place as well, but same kind of concept applies. They're opening all these doors, trying to find what's out. Colin Robinson opens up this one door, and there's this lady's like, "Oh yeah, can you help us out here?" She starts going all weird, kind of fucking ring ding kind of shit. And he's like, "Oh nope, nope, nope." Opens. He's like, "Oh yeah," doing all these stupid ways to try and like find a way out, like this door on the floor will lead you out, kind of shit. Fucking howling icy winds. Sees one with like a Greek philosopher kind of shit going on, and Guillermo is able to get him out because one of them has exit written in Spanish. He's like, yeah, found the exit. Go out. It then leads into the fucking ceremony room. It's like, shit, that's not really an effective thing to do. And of course, we find out that they are doing a semen extraction process because that's what they need to keep their youthful appearances and shit. And they're gotten these like fucking crazy ass tools for pretty much one-time semen extraction. Well, mainly because when you've essentially got the kind of thing that's like a cock gun with a fucking corkscrew shit in it. I don't know about you, but that's pretty fucking kind of hairy damn deal. Trying to like, yeah, that's gonna fuck up a dick. So they're like, how the fuck did you get out there? It's like, Colin Robinson's trying to take all this stuff. He's like, hey, yeah, we'll do the semen thing for you. And then, of course, he tries to pawn it off on Guillermo. And we see throughout this that Guillermo is really underappreciated. We had seen in the beginning that he was wondering if maybe he should try and do a normal people kind of job thing. And he presented this idea for business of essentially doing a deodorant stick size thing for a Tide pen thing for like super blood remover. That is important because it comes into effect when we're dealing with this whole witches situation. They decide to hang up Colin. They're getting ready to do their thing. We also see that Lilith pops back up, and we find out why Nadja is pissed off at her. That she's an enemy. She'd spit at her like 5 times as an enemy kind of thing. And the reason is she had extracted semen from Laszlo previously. And the thing is, we find out that she had changed her form to look like Nadja. She changes her form and essentially turns into someone that looks similar to Nadja, but like, I'm talking, you'd have to really fucking stretch it to be like, yeah, that's my wife. And she's like, do you like fuck anybody with like long black hair? And she's like, what about her? And he goes, hi Judith. And she's like, what about Nandor? And then there's that uncomfortable silence, and it's like, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just like, interesting. I wonder how that dynamic went. And that actually comes back in later too. So we had seen that like Lilith had like put Nadja up, and they're like, and then she got like thrown back down, and she actually was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Extract him. Fuck it. Piss off, man. I don't got this. Guillermo, of course, is like, you know what? I kind of have a business proposition for you. What if I could give you an unlimited supply of semen, pretty much? And essentially is using it, pretty much uses a shortened form of his name for like the whole thing. And ooh, yeah, then you don't have the problem of going out, hunting the people and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, you could actually do this for vampires as well. I'm like, wonder if this will like work out kind of stuff. And he gets like 3% of like the net profits. And it works out. They're like, yeah, we'll do this. And then we, of course, see that Guillermo's coming in, delivering this stuff. He's like, you know what? This kind of really sucks. I'm walking around Brooklyn with jars of semen. He then talks with the goat dude, and the goat dude's like, yeah, I wonder if I'm ever going to become a witch. And it's like, these people are getting fucked over. So I'm wondering if we're going to see Guillermo kind of become a leader of some kind of like revolution of like the familiars and all these other kind of like under people, and that's going to be the thing that kind of cracks his shit, because he has created a great profitable business of helping to supply these witches with everything that they need, and that works out pretty well. But his goal is to be a vampire. He even wonders if that is kind of like a childish career choice and everything, and what else he can do with this. Like, this is kind of cool that they're digging into that. We also get a thing at the end where, of course, Nandor and Laszlo are still rock hard, and they're like, you thinking what I'm thinking? Yeah, we finish each other off and never speak of this again? Yep. And they then go in a room, turn off the lights, close the door, and that's all she wrote. And I'm just like, yep. I didn't expect another kind of like semen thing after we had gotten like stroke your cock, but of course that was not as semen focused as this one, since this played a pivotal kind of role, and they executed very well on the jokes and everything. I found everything working pretty funny. We got interesting group dynamics. We got Guillermo fucking growing some balls and shit and being like, okay, they're in that room and he's trying to find the light switch and they're bitching at him. He's like, you know what? Fuck you guys. He's getting really fucking tired of this shit, and it's a gradual progression. It's not like he suddenly one day woke up and said, you know what? Fuck these people. He's actually gotten to a point, even though it's only been like 2 seasons, where he sees what's going on, he is doing his best, these people are not appreciating him, and he's not fucking taking it anymore. I'm like, yes, Guillermo. Fucking do it. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do for the season finale, and what crazy shenanigans will ensue there, and what they'll do in any future seasons. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.